Did you know that a virtual rabbit performed a set at South by Southwest and Art Basel? Did you know that Warner Music just launched a Web3 music label? Did you know that Muse topped the UK charts with their NFT album? If any of this is news to you or you're fascinated by why any of this matters, keep watching because we're about to dive deep into all things music NFTs. Whether it's major labels like UMG backing a band of apes, OpenSea debuting their launch platform with a string of music collections, or indie artists selling tokenized albums and making 1,000 times as much as they would have with Spotify, it's undeniable the music NFTs have been making a splash lately. Now, given the multi-million-dollar raises and big names backing the bubbling niche of NFTs, it makes sense to step back and assess the landscape. Are we at the front end of a Cambrian explosion in music NFTs, or is everyone just drinking the Kool-Aid, grasping for hope in this current market environment? Well, spoiler alert. I'm convinced this is much more than a fad, and that in reality, we're witnessing the foundations being laid for major disruption to the status quo of music, creatively, culturally, and commercially. Even if I'm right, why does this matter? Why should you care at all about music NFTs? If you're an artist or a fan of music, you already know that the traditional music system is broken. Skewed incentive models have led to formulaic songs optimized for replayability and streams, resulting in low morale for many artists trying to make a living from their passion, fighting for relevancy and visibility amongst the mighty Spotify algorithms and playlist curators. In short, artists want to reprice music, express their full creativity, and retain ownership. Music NFTs provide a golden opportunity for all of that, and then some. When someone says music NFT, I think of collections like Warp Sounds, the first generative audio-visual music NFT that also works as a PFP. But I also think of Orbs by BT, the first NFT utilizing dynamically synthesized and sequenced music, both of which are two of the collections with some of the highest volume of all time. As far as artists, I think of folks like Latasha and Verite. I think of collectives like Songcamp and Hume. But in its simplest form, music NFTs are tokenized songs minted on-chain. But in practice, this can take many other forms, from full-length albums to music videos and even memberships. The through line of it all being the focus around music, a musical artist, or a sonic experience that requires or involves NFTs. Now, today's goal is to shine a light on the experiments playing out in this corner of the space by providing a comprehensive, albeit succinct look at a few of the artists, projects, and collections at the forefront of this niche. We'll explore the value prop and challenges of the segment, and we'll touch on some of the key platforms and protocols powering it all. If you want a dedicated video focused on any of the projects or platforms mentioned, just let me know down in the comments below or holla at me on Twitter. But let's go ahead and get into it. Crypto-cultured Web3 native artist. I know, I opened this whole thing up mentioning virtual rabbits performing at major festivals, and we will get there soon, I promise. But first, let's look at the artists who've decided to focus their attention on Web3 instead of chasing playlist placements and lopsided 360 deals. To understand what's happening here, we need to talk about two key concepts: the 1,000 true fans theory and microeconomies. The 1,000 fans theory is a well-established framework for taking music, art, or any other passion and turning it into a financially viable career. If you've got 1,000 people willing to spend an average of $10 a month to support you through shows, buying your songs, or your merch, that's $10,000 a month, a very healthy revenue stream for an artist. But what if you didn't need 1,000 fans, but just 100? This is now possible thanks to microeconomies, a model where creators place an emphasis on exclusive access, high-touch interactions, and incentives that drive value back to the community via tokens, perks, or other potentially valuable assets. Now, there is a lot of nuance here, and it likely warrants its own video, but in the meantime, I suggest you read this article by Austin Horowitz for a stellar summary. Nevertheless, a few breakout artists have already put this theory to the test and proven the model successful, culturally and commercially. From singles and albums to music videos, Latasha has continuously minted out her collections and is one of the most prominent artists in all of Web3 across all genres. She's not just focused on music, though, heading up community at Zora and founding their hit festival, Zoratopia. Note, the most successful Web3 artists all share something in common: an obsession with nurturing their communities and adding value to the broader ecosystem. Daniel Allen, Verite, Sae'Von, and Spotty Wi-Fi are all staples in the Web3 music scene for this very reason. Yes, they make art that resonates with fans, but they all prioritize their community. And given their strong collector base and growing network effects, most of the top artists release their music NFTs on Zora, sound.xyz, or Catalog. And for music videos, glass.xyz seems to be the leader here. Music NFTs aren't just for indie artists, though. Lo-fi legend OMG Kirby has launched several NFT projects, including his Genesis collection, which helped pioneer the formula for music PFPs, creating a looping scene with various elements representing different stems of the song. Bilal, one of the world's biggest electronic artists, was highly active in the space throughout 2020, and in 2021, he released his own platform, Royal, designed to let fans buy a piece of the royalties generated from their favorite artist. Following a major change to the UK's official charts company, Muse released their 9th studio album as an NFT through the Serenade platform, becoming the first NFT album release eligible for UK and Australian charts. We can't possibly forget to mention Snoop Dogg, though, who has gone hard in the space, dropping Back on Death Row in collaboration with Gala Music, releasing CC0 tracks on Sound, co-creating the premium Studio Snoop Dogg Burrow for Fluff World's Genesis Land collection. He's even gone as far as removing the entire Death Row catalog from streaming services, a move that many speculate precedes a greater Web3 music strategy from the label exec. Though the thought of Snoop re-releasing his label's entire collection of music as NFTs may seem impractical or extreme, the tools are already in place to make this a reality. Whether it's breakout Web3 artists, global superstars, or rising metastars, new distribution platforms and labels are emerging to cater to this growing segment of NFT musicians. From a distribution standpoint, sound.xyz and Catalog are two of the more dominant players you should know about. The former focuses on the relationship between artists and their supporters, emphasizing fans' ability to prove they were first in discovering a new artist or song. Catalog, on the other hand, is more focused on being a digital record shop, intended to make the music the star of the show, currently only supporting one-of-one mints and limiting artwork to static images in order to minimize the risk of visuals distracting from the music itself. Between the two platforms, artists have collectively earned more than $6 million to date from the release of their music as NFTs. Labels are a particularly interesting segment of music NFTs. In the traditional music business, labels used to hold immense power due to their role as gatekeepers for distribution. Once digital hit the scene, they lost that advantage. Now, their main value adds come in the form of financing, placements, sync licensing, touring infrastructure, and collaborations with other artists on the label's roster of talent. Now, as game-changing as all of that can be, most artists don't need that whole suite, but would still benefit from having a team helping nurture their career. Realizing things could be done differently, Troy Carter and Suzy Ryu launched an NFT membership pass for their platform Venice Music, an all-in-one hub for artists to receive distribution, educational workshops, networking events, and even providing the chance for sync placements for the higher-tier members. Well, what if instead of corporate executives holding all the influence at labels, a community of fans had a voice at the table? Enter Hume, a community-governed record label focused on building out metastars like Angel Baby. To be clear, there is still a centralized team guiding things in the background, chiefly the two founders David Beener and Jay Stoller, who've recently raised over $11 million to continue building out Hume and his Metastar roster. Buying a Hume Collective Genesis NFT allows you to vote on key decisions for the label's artist and is the only way to access The Spot, Hume's digital studio and collector's lounge. Frankly, this was all a bit odd to me when I first came across it, but my conversation with Shep Ogden about virtual humans put all of this in context, helping me see a clear path towards a future that leans heavily on virtual influencers as notable music artists. For instance, Angel Baby has already performed at Art Basel, South by Southwest, and alongside T-Pain at Fluff House LA. If that's not wild enough, the songs they've released so far have been some of the best performing tracks ever featured on Audius, a Web3 streaming platform, and have even featured production from multi-platinum producers like Gino.eth, formerly known as Gino the Ghost. Now, speaking of Gino, he's got his own NFT project called Blocktones, and it appears to be connected to Hume and the wider Fluff World lore. Now, Fluff World is the parent collection of the avatars that Angel Baby originates from, which also happens to be the sister collection to Party Bears, the music-oriented collection within the Fluff ecosystem. Now, not many details are available about Blocktones yet, but so far they've built a narrative-rich world that imagines a future where all music on the charts is created by AI. And Gino and his team even went so far as to tie the story back into the actual mint mechanics, specifically a process where the AI corrupted all the unminted Blocktones by hacking into the Resistance's archives. Now, it's small touches like that go a long way to creating an immersive lore, but also serves a functional purpose. Aside from Angel Baby, we've seen Bored Apes leveraged to create metastars like Timbaland's Congo and Kingship, a UMG-backed band founded by Celine Joshua and Jimmy.eth. Although the collection has only been out for a few months, the band has already debuted a collab with Eminem's and appears to have production from James Fauntleroy, Hit Boy, and others. One last metastar I'll mention is Roki. The project is not nearly as well known, but Coop mentioned it in one of his newsletters, and they certainly appear to be creating something captivating. Long story short, if you're bullish on the metaverse and the creator economy, don't fade this metastar trend. It is only getting started. Now that we have surveyed the music NFT landscape, let's talk a bit about some of the hurdles and challenges facing the niche. The first one being a fractured ecosystem. As of this moment, there's no universally agreed standard for publishing music directly on-chain in a way that makes it both monetizable and easily discoverable by other protocols, fans, and collectors. Brandon Torrey and his team at Formless are doing some cool things here with their Share protocol, an engine for Web3 applications and digital content streaming services that also enables pay-per-stream access with instant royalty payouts. Now, Decent.xyz just released their protocol for a no-code minting via Creator HQ, and Ooh La La is an aggregation protocol with some solid traction. Regardless, it's far too early to dub anything the Spotify or DistroKid of Web3. There are plenty of teams building in parallel that are hungry to become the go-to platform. Now, the next issue is instant consumption. Regardless of any underlying utility or experiences, PFPs are designed to be taken at face value and have benefited immensely from their digestible nature. At this point, it's common to see people using their PFPs to represent their online identity and brands across any platform supporting profile pictures. This has all created a recipe for visibility and exposure, both of which can do wonders for the volume and revenue of a collection. The issue here is that it's difficult to use a music NFT as your online identity in the same way as a PFP collection. Consequently, music NFTs lack the rapid and reflexive feedback loop. Yes, some collections and artists are making cool art to go along with the music, but it's music at the end of the day, and music can only be experienced over time. This deliberate pace clashes with the cadence of Twitter and of full-time NFT flippers, a cohort that is instrumental in the financial success of projects as they typically are high-volume traders jumping in and out of collections on relatively low time frames. The third hurdle is the effort required. You see, if you have the right software tools, it's pretty straightforward to kick out a 10K PFP collection. Just look at Fiverr. The technical barrier is low, and there's a ton of best practices for the PFP genre. Hence, there's also a ton of garbage out there. And music NFTs are harder to pull off. As we mentioned, most are not PFP collections, so that's not on the table. Even more, there are different rules to music than visual art. You can combine some traits that clash visually, but it could still work. But with all the keys, chords, melodies, harmonies, and patterns involved with the music, certain combinations just don't work. If you do have the requisite music theory chops to give it a go, there are far fewer tools designed to create generative audio tracks. Now, next on the list of hurdles is the macro environment, which is bleak, and the liquidity, it's all but dried up. There's no two ways about it. And since music NFTs are a niche within the greater NFT market, which is a niche within the broader crypto market, there aren't many people paying attention right now. But what may be lacking in quantity is surely compensated by who is paying attention. The last hurdle we have to discuss are the incumbents. The traditional music business is dying. Money is still being made, yes, but things are looking terminal. Artists know it, execs know it, and fans and collectors are starting to notice it too. Naturally, big music is not going to go down without a fight. Many labels have doubled down on their old formulas, but certain players are realizing the need to innovate. The past few months, we've seen Warner Records launch Probably a Label, UMG partner with folks like LimeWire, and numerous artists in the States issue collectibles through marketplaces like One.eth. All these forays into the space are promising, but the music business is not going to step aside just to watch artists make 4, 5, 10, 20, 1,000 times as much money in Web3 with none of it going back to the label. But despite all these challenges facing music NFTs, I'm incredibly optimistic. In my opinion, any informed and educated artist who has the ability to play in this arena should. And here's a quick list of reasons why. First, it's a new medium with new economics. According to Free Your Music, 1 million Spotify streams pays out close to $5,000. Well, data from a recent Delphi Digital report calculated that the average sale price of songs minted on catalog is about 1 ETH, which is roughly $1,300 at the time of this recording. All this to say, you can either try to get 1 million streams on Spotify or sell 4 NFTs. Which seems more likely? Now, for context, Bloomberg reported that Iman Europe, an independent artist with just shy of 30,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, made over 60 grand from selling 5 singles and a music video NFT. If that's what an independent artist is doing, what kind of numbers would Beyonce, Kendrick, Harry Styles, Adele, any of these other folks make? If the economics weren't already compelling, consider the following. It's a new creative canvas. It's a highly collaborative medium. It fosters super engaged communities, provides a fresh audience and a brand facelift, provides compelling risk to reward for the business-minded artist out there, and it's the most innovative field in technology with the lowest barrier to entry, yet the most cultural appeal and interest. Maybe I'm missing something, but this just seems ripe for droves and droves of mainstream major artists to enter into the space. But time will tell. So, how can you get involved with music NFTs? If you're an artist, create some. Don't overthink it though. You can go on OpenSea and create one in about 90 seconds if you want. Now boom, you technically have a music NFT. Now once you're ready to dive in a bit deeper, head on over to Zora and create a work there. After you've done that, check out Decent's Creator HQ. This will give you a ton of control over the minting process and is optimized for music artists. After that, I suggest you apply to Sound and Catalog since you have to be approved to list on their platforms. It is a bit annoying, at least in my opinion, but it is understandable from a quality control and product standpoint. If you're a collector, start collecting. Keep an eye on Sound in particular as they often have free mints. Otherwise, find an artist you like and support them. If you're a capital allocator, take a couple weeks and immerse yourself in what's happening across the space to figure out where you want to build a position. Do keep in mind, though, that this video was made with extreme intent. So just know, I dropped some gems that should be a great starting place for you. Additionally, consider subscribing to the This Week in Music NFTs newsletter by Cooper Trooper, a real OG in the niche who's firmly on the pulse of everything that's going on. But if you're still a bit unsure about how to get set up with a wallet and start exploring the best that Web3 has to offer, no worries. I'm actually building something to solve this issue and help onboard all my curious creators out there who want to get into Web3 and crypto. Just use the link below to join the waitlist, and you can help us in building the perfect solution for you and be among the first to get access when it's ready. But that's it for today's episode. If you've learned something or found it otherwise helpful, please leave a comment, a like, and subscribe for more content just like this. It's free, and it goes an incredibly long way in helping keep this sort of content free. And once again, my name is Sae'Von Springer, founder and managing partner of Native Assets and author of the Blockchain Blueprint. I'll holler at you real soon. Peace and blessings.
You niggas ain't cheat me to reenact the TV. I'm a real life shot caller. You niggas just shoot at the breeze. I can shoot at your knees. 1 cap, 2 cap, my cat. Go black, producing near load of facts. Catch a skeleton around the map. See, I terrorize like it's getting more. Cause I theorize at higher tempo. But you been on in my modo. I'm a random and the get broke.